Hello and welcome everyone to a presentation of Clash Artifacts of Chaos. I am Carlos Bordeu, one of the designers of this game, and I'm going to a little bit explain what's special about this game, what differentiates it from other third-person action combat titles. And I think I'm going to go through a little bit of the combat mechanics, the visuals, the art, a little bit of a brief description. So first of all, I think what most people will notice is that the visual style of the game is pretty different to other titles in the genre. This is a mix, a little bit, I would say, of something like God of War, maybe mixed with a Souls game. It does have doors that open in one way and so on forth, but our combat mechanics are a bit different to what you will traditionally see in other fighting games, and I want to go a little bit into some of the reasons why it's different, because we've taken a lot of cues from traditional fighting games, and as I'm going to show as I fight this enemy, the main thing that makes our game particularly different to other fighting games is the ability to cancel out attacks into movement options or special attacks. So we have our regular attacks, and then we have our what we would call a special attack with another button. But the thing that makes it different to other games is that I can cancel one move into another. So a little bit like canceling attacks in Street Fighter or other Japanese fighting games, I can really quickly move from one move to the other. I can just dodge, but I can also cancel attacks into the special. So for instance, I can do 1, 2, 3, cancel into special, and attack my enemy for another time. This I can do with all my normal attacks. I can do dodges into attacks, and I can cancel those into other attacks. So for instance, I can do a side into a forward, and that really gives me the ability to start playing around much more efficiently with the combat and do some combos, custom combos. They are not pre-made. So another thing that's particularly different from our game when compared to other games, and I'm going to showcase this here against this dummy here, is the ability to go into first-person combat mode. So we're going to skip here the sort of tutorial, but as you'll see as I start fighting with this dummy, I can do all the same things, but once I fill my rage bar or attack bar, I can go into first-person combat mode. And in first-person combat mode, I have different sets of attacks. I can still parry. I can still attack and cancel. I can do many of the same things. But you'll notice this kind of note of sound that starts increasing, and that is how close I'm about to reach a special, the ultra attack in the game. So let's finish him off, and boom. Each of our enemies has his own kind of unique finishing move, so that makes the game more interesting, because you're going to want to experiment and see what cool animations we have to defeat different enemies and so forth. There's also pairing in the game. This is very at the beginning of the sort of intro section of the game. I have these two parry machines which you can I can parry my projectiles, or I can parry, if I did the timing correctly, I can do parries to projectiles and throw them back, or I can actually parry attacks like regular attacks. The parrying of attacks allows me to increase my attack bar, and also allows me, I can cancel out of it and gives me more options. So here I'm at the beginning of the game. So Psuedo is this mysterious character. He's awakened by this strange music that's pulling him in a specific direction. That's part of the story. I won't spoil that much. This screen here is talking about the guard mechanics of the game. So for the most part, you'll see this little shield circle on the top left of the screen, and what that does is it tells me how much of my automatic guard function I have. Basically, if an enemy hits me and I haven't the bar depleted, I only take half the damage. So what that means is that I can take a little bit more risk when I'm fighting an enemy. But as soon as the spar is depleted, I have to be a little bit more careful because I'll take more damage. I have, from my dodge movements, I can do forward attacks, I can do side attacks, I can also do charge attacks, I can do running attacks. As you see there, I was able to cancel multiple attacks by just using the different options that I get from the movement. Whoops! From the movement options I get from just the movement options that I get from the combat mechanics in the game. So here I'm gonna climb and I'm just gonna heal myself a bit. Yummy. So let's take on these two enemies. I have a When the player is flashing white, that means that you properly cancel one move into another. Now, this is the main combat stance, one of 3 that you can choose at the beginning of the game. I choose like the regular boxing one, but there's others. So let's finish this guy off. As you can see, I used the rage bar there, and I was able to defeat that giant Odonodon. Odonodons are these like giant sloths that we have in the game. So I'm still being pulled by this mysterious music. As you can see, the environments of the game are very organic. This is inspired on the game Xenoclash. This is a game that's not inspired, it's basically from the Xenoclash series.
Please, we have nothing to give you. I do not wish to fight.
I have an artifact.
No, Grandpa, don't do it.
We are not corners.
So let's run this one.
This is the only law, and we must obey it.
Now we're going to see another central thing that's very different to other games, which is the ritual. So what's going on here? So my enemy is challenging me to a ritual. A ritual is like this sort of mini game that you play against other opponents, intelligent opponents. So previously I was like fighting animals, but in this case I'm taking control of Grandpa here, and he's going to be playing the ritual against this guy who we call the bully. It's a dice mini game in which I get to propose a consequence artifact which changes the rules of combat should I win the game of dice. So I'm going to go through it relatively quickly here, but basically I have this my cup with the dice, and I can throw my dice, and woo, we got a 6, a 2, and a 2. That's, oh, he got a much better throw. And you have these little checks which allow you to alter the way the dice are on the board. So for instance, I can choose this one, which flips a dice of my own and one of his. So I want to choose one of higher value for his and lower value for mine. Or did I not do that? No, I think, well, I'm going to, we're tied right now. This one here, what it does is it reduces the value of the dice that I put here, and he wants to reduce one of my dice. So the ritual, I've won it. That means that I get to affect him with the consequence artifact which I chose, which is this one, which is a poison. You're going to see that during the combat, the bully is going to be having like twitching. He's going to have like these stomach pains which interrupt his animation and make the combat easier for me. Now, oh, poor Grandpa isn't very strong. He's very slow. Ouch. Ah, there he had one of those cramps. But poor Grandpa's really, really weak. not very strong at all, so I'm really not, probably not gonna win this fight. Ouch!
Grandpa! Grandpa!
Is he dead? How did he...
In the world of Xenoclash, characters don't really try to kill each other. They fight. It's very violent, but from the story itself,
You killed him.
these creatures are usually not trying to kill each other.
This is none of your business. I have another artifact. You don't want to...
So what the bully's telling here, he has artifacts,
Then I've already won.
and Psuedo says, I don't have any, so basically they have to follow the law of the land. They're gonna have to duke it out, but since I don't have any dice, he has the consequence of hitting me with a stick, and there's nothing really I can do, but the fight starts, and I'm gonna take revenge for Grandpa. Enemies, one interesting thing that's going on here is that you'll notice that the bully is parrying some of my attacks. And that happens because I'm hitting him with the same attack over and over again. You can't really keep on repeating the same attack over and over, or the computer will learn your moves.
Is that all you got?
Grandpa is dead.
Yes.
What should I do?
You should say the words. Did he teach you?
He did.
Say the words.
His bones are earth. His flesh is dust. His breath
His breath is wind.
is wind.
Good. It's over.
This is how these two characters meet together.
Where will I go?
So, at this point of the voyage, this is the very beginning of the game, is basically where Psuedo encounters the boy and they form a team. We said we got some inspiration for the original from God of War, and definitely you can see that there's a relationship between these two characters, which will play out and be a central part of the story of the game. It's a kind of sad beginning because Grandpa's dead, and I basically have to take care of this child. So I'm instructed to play at the beat, go to the tent, and you'll notice the checkpoint system is very similar to a Dark Souls type of game, Souls type game, in which you have to reach these campsites to
Can't leave without Grandpa's dice.
save your progress.
You can't just go walking around without dice. You can use them if you need to fight again.
So now I have my... Now Psuedo finally has some dice. I can basically fight in the game. I can have ritual encounters with other intelligent enemies and have my own mini
Is
game
there anyone who can take care of you?
against them.
No,
Anyone who knew your grandpa?
my brother. He doesn't want to see me.
Where is he?
In the mountains.
Too far out of my way. Maybe someone from Gemini's palace can take you there. She's always got messengers going back and forth, taking care of her business.
So I'm gonna skip these enemies over here. So right here at very early in the game, I get to encounter a couple of new characters, and I can already start using some of the knowledge that I acquired in the game. Some of the game mechanics start to play out as I have these two characters here,
By the one law, I challenge you.
and I'm now able to challenge other enemies to the ritual. If I don't want to challenge them to the ritual, if I prefer going right into combat, I can do that. This is something that's optional in the game. You can also ask the boy to play the ritual, like sort of automatically. But here I have two interesting consequent artifacts I could use. So for instance, one is this wasps that surround the enemy and sort of deal damage. This one I find much more interesting, which is one that binds the foot of the enemy to the floor. So let's see if I can get that one to, if I can win. So I'll go ahead and challenge him with this one. So again, I have my dice. Let's see how this throw went. Okay, seems fairly okay. Okay, so it's 12 versus 12. This is going to be difficult. So nearest half. I have to try to get one of his stronger dice and one of my weaker ones. So we're still tied. I'm going to grab all his dice with this one. And I won. Great. So as you can see, he's bound to the floor. He really can't run away from this region. He's gonna have trouble with that enemy there. So this fight just became a lot easier for me if these don't start hitting each other. This fight can get pretty chaotic if he's free. But now he's stuck. So that means that he really, if I stay away, he can't really give me that much trouble. He's actually trying to deal with this animal. We do have infighting in the game. One important thing that I didn't mention is that special attacks cannot be cancelled out of. So your normal attacks can be cancelled, just like in Street Fighter. So for instance, you would have you can do a strong attack into a Hadouken, but you cannot really cancel the Hadouken into another Hadouken, for instance. Whoa! This animal helped me out there. I wasn't able to showcase the first-person finisher against this smaller enemy, but well. You can do it if you play the game. So the chain, I think he broke from the bind. Yes, exactly. It's not indefinite. It gives me some time. So now we're gonna take care of this big guy together. And now he's all alone. This makes the fight a lot easier. I think he lost his HP right after doing that attack. So well, from here the game just opens up for more exploration. There are creatures around that I can fight with, places to explore, adventures to have, but I think at this point I'll just leave it here, and I hope you enjoy the game. This game is still in development. We're in beta stages still, but we would very much appreciate if you can wishlist the game, try it out, give us feedback, because there's a lot of things that are in progress here. So this game isn't finished, and it would be very interesting to get the feedback from as many people as we can. Hope you enjoyed this presentation, and glad to see you here.